Hi there. Today I wanted to drastically shift gears and talk about something that I've never even come close to touching on before because it came up in my own personal therapy a couple weeks ago. I believe the fear of abandonment is spoken about a lot in the adult world, be it in therapy plus on social media, blah, blah, blah. I think people are aware of it in theory. So let me touch on that first, what I mean by in theory. And then I want to bring up a different kind of deep-seated fear, what I would almost think of as the opposite of the fear of abandonment. So many times we couples therapists, I know I'm not alone, hear from one partner, either partner, um, they walk out in a fight, or sometimes when they leave, whatever, for whatever reason, I have this fear of abandonment and that gets triggered. So fear of abandonment is the fear that if you leave me, you're not going to come back. And two interesting points about that. One, adults can't be abandoned. That's just good information to know. Abandonment by definition is if you leave me, I will die. So it is rare that an adult, I'm not going to die if my husband leaves me. I would be devastated. I'm not minimizing that. And I like to tell my couples that I work with, or even my individuals that I work with, I'm not saying you would be okay. I'm not saying you would be fine. I'm not saying you would be happy. I am saying you likely wouldn't die if your partner left or something happened. The fear of abandonment comes from childhood stuff, our histories. I don't frequently in these videos use the term inner child. The fear of abandonment really is something about your inner child. It is a historical fear. It could stem from like a divorce or a parent just leaving out of the blue, which is typically a divorce. But let's say your parents weren't married and one of your parents just up and left one night. That could absolutely spark a fear of abandonment. And then when your partner does something, you don't realize it, but it brings up your history. I always do this for history, right? It brings up your history of being a child with that abandonment. Because I just repeat myself again, adults can't be abandoned, but for a child, if an adult leaves, you could die. I mean, I used to say my kids are now 11 in January, they'll be 11 and a half and 13. And when they were littler, I used to say, like, if my husband and I moved out, they would die. Amira and my daughter could probably scrap together and keep them alive for a little while. But they would eventually die. That's abandonment. If we left, they would die. So again, that was all my quick explanation of a fear of abandonment. The one I actually came in here to talk about is a fear of exile. And this is, so not to boast, but this is totally my own theory. I developed this accidentally with my own therapist, like I said, a couple of weeks ago, and I've been talking to my clients about it because it came up due to my childhood stuff. That I do not have a fear of abandonment. And I have some childhood stuff that says that I would have that, so that's interesting. What I have is a fear of exile. Now, for you people watching, if any of you are familiar with internal family systems, which is IFS, I do not mean what they mean by exile. Quick explanation for you. In the IFS model, our exiles are the parts of us, typically from childhood, that hold wounding or pain. And then we have these protective parts that make sure we don't have to feel that pain. Like that pain was so bad, it got buried deep, deep within our subconscious, and IFS calls those exiled parts. That is not what I'm referring to. So just know that. This is a whole new Vicky kind of concept that, again, I made up. For me, the fear of exile is the fear that for whatever reason, you're going to send me away and still I will die, right? The abandonment fear is if you leave me, I will die. The exile fear is you're going to send me away. You're not going to leave me. You're going to send me away and I'm still going to die. Because for a child to be sent away from the parents, the adults, or to have the adults leave them, the child can't take care of themselves. The child cannot keep themselves alive. So that's why it still comes back to, and I will die. Now, my fear of exile does still stem from my childhood stuff. I grew up with two adopted older brothers in the house. They were adopted, so they were my brothers. They were naturally my cousins. It's a whole other story. And when I was 7, one of them was sent away, sent to a boys' home. And I do think that I learned some subconscious messages from that. And so it was coming up in session that I have these networks in my brain that inner child stuff that are terrified that if I mess up, if I do the wrong thing, which could still be seen as messing up, make a mistake, I'm going to be exiled. I'm going to be sent away. And again, and I will die. So I just thought it was enlightening to me when I said it to my therapist, Rebecca. When I looked around, I was like, oh boy, I still have young parts that are afraid they're going to die. It's just, I'm not afraid of someone leaving me, fear of abandonment. I'm afraid they're going to shun me and send me away, which I then made up. I think I looked towards that. Isn't that what exile means? So I wanted to come in here and do a video that I think there's 2 immense childhood woundings, immense childhood pains and learnings that we could have: fear of abandonment and or fear of exile. So that was it. I thought that might be good information to put out in the world. So you might have a fear of abandonment, you might have a fear of exile, both of which are stemming from your histories, and therapy can help heal from both of them. So maybe that was helpful to some people out there, like it was to me. If you like this video, go ahead and like the video. I always laugh at how redundant that is. And subscribe, just because it helps the algorithm and then more people can get this information. I hope this spoke to you, and until next time.